ding, ding.
Women have been on the vibration technology train for decades.
Did he have the legendary wrench that I've heard he has?
What's Dean got to do with it?
It's not really the dick, it's the balls.
Talk with Locke. I knew I'd get it in, James.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a ding.
I'm coming in there with a 2-finger cul-de-sac. I'm going to tickle them pink, and they're going to get a dose of Bonzi.
To me, relationships are like a leash, and
Yours didn't go well, right?
No.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Let's start right out. Hey, what happened?
Morning, afternoon. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm just reading about this new shutdown in Ontario. Pardon me.
Oh, yeah, they're just launching it now, right?
You'll have to excuse me. Yes. Yeah, new shutdown is coming out. Welcome to the show. My name is Dean. It is the Dean Blundell Show. That is Joe Williamson from the Nerd Dad podcast here at DeanBlundell.com. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Very well. Yourself?
Good. I'm reading. Leave me alone.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
That is Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM at Edmonton.
Thank you for having me.
One of the hosts of this program. Shh, reading. Oh, yeah.
It says you can go anywhere you want.
Can I ask you a question, Dean?
Yeah.
When's Sandy coming up and Kaniki?
Who's Sandy and Kaniki? From
You
Greece?
look like, yeah.
Making fun of my clothes?
I'm making fun of that jacket.
Clothes
yeah.
shaming me? You clothes shaming me?
What happened
I
to the
ripped in from a meeting.
$7 Gildan shirts or whatever, Gildan that you normally wear?
It's underneath, first of all.
Yeah.
This is Calvin Klein.
Oh.
And I literally just got back from a meeting, with our cannabis partner, Black Rose
I
Organics.
was just going to say, do we have another weed sponsor? Every time you have a fucking meeting, it's with somebody that sells weed.
Yeah, I know. That's who wants to do business with us right now.
Sponsor.
Yeah, dude.
It's
that's
so true.
Everybody,
I got a meeting. Weed guy? Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it is. But it's legitimately a weed meeting because we're coming out with these two pens, right? Solution-oriented pens with our partner at Black Rose Organics. They're incredible. They got this garlic sherbet, by the way. It's like 30% THC. Hello. And they're just launching this sales program, so you can get an ounce of quad, the most incredible flower that you've ever had for $100 less an ounce if you're a medical patient. It's crazy. So I had this meeting there, and we're talking about these pens, and I wanted to do them in these cartridges. Right? You see these little cartridges? That's where the solution goes in there. And they're like, no, we can't do that. We got to do it in some. But I'm like, these are sexy. These are sexy cartridges. I want our stuff to be sexy. So we settled on some sexy packaging. We settled on some devices. We settled on the strains. Hello, if you want to go to bed. Hello. And we settled on a daytime job. Hello. Because we're solution oriented people, right? Our partners are cool people. They're altruistic. They want it to work. They make craft cannabis, which no one does in this country. Everybody's so.
What does that mean? You need to explain.
They
thing.
do. It's all hand picked, handcrafted, hand grown. No machines, no nothing. And it's they've got these
stuff I used
it's almost
to
like
buy,
a hyperbaric chamber that they grow it in. Yeah,
the stuff I used to buy back in the 80s from the guy that worked in the kitchen at the Big Yak and Back restaurant.
Yep.
He lived in the Airstream behind the restaurant, and he grew it. He grew it with his tomatoes. That was craft as well, and he put it in Wonder bags.
Yeah.
So we'd buy literally a pound from him in a Wonder Bread bag, and we called it Shake because it didn't stick together.
Well, no, that's not what shake is. It's all the shit that's left behind after you take all the great
That's
buds.
what
So
we
you
were
getting
smoking.
hosed. Yeah, exactly.
We
Still
were
does the job.
and we would smoke it and just get a headache.
Yeah, that's just grass. Everybody just remember when you were younger, you're like, "Oh, you go get some weed," and you didn't even care what was in it. Like nobody cared. Nobody cared how it was grown. Nobody cared who grew it. Nobody cared if they were like whipping around turpentines and gas and fucking pesticides when they were like, nobody cared. And now it's like you have to see an operation. If you haven't seen a licensed producer of cannabis operation, it's insane. Plus, these guys actually give a shit about the plant. They're not a publicly traded company, so and all they want to do is help people, alleviate issues, whether it's stress, anxiety. Everybody says stress and anxiety is just what everybody says when they want to smoke pot legally. It's a real thing. Like they have real strains for that shit. So that's why, long story short, I look like this. Is because I had to go somewhere semi-important.
You look snappy.
It looks good.
It's just you know what this number is? It's just a reversible deal. That's all it is.
It's
just
a collar, though. That's better than what you got here.
Yeah, that's true. It's a 2-in-1, right? 2-in-1s are it. Like, if you're going to invent one thing, make sure it has another use. Because that's all I do now is buy 2-in-1s. I don't buy anything that has one purpose.
My underwear is 2-in-1. I can flip inside out.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast. We have a shit pile of stuff to get to. We just heard that there's a lockdown. That's what I was reading. Ontario.
Are you in Ontario, Joe?
I am, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's not too far from me. So we're going on lockdown today because the B117 variants are out of control, as we showed you yesterday. Here's the graph. If you can read, you're cool. This is when Dougie decided to open up in his infinite wisdom after looking at these numbers. He said he'd do it anyway, and now we're here, and the exponential growth is going to kill people. So the announcement today comes down. Tomorrow we start a brand new 4-week lockdown, kids, but this isn't just an everyday lockdown. This isn't just an everyday deal. This isn't like your regular garden variety lockdown like we've had 3 of them before. This is the 4th.
Can I still go to Arby's?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
Food's cool. Food's cool.
Okay.
But in this lockdown, they're not actually addressing any of the issues anywhere, even though they're saying we're doing a big lockdown. Like Amazon, where all the problems are happening, that's still allowed to be open. Schools here in Ontario, where infection is a big deal, and none of our teachers have been vaccinated. Like, none of them. And they're like, school's still cool. School's still cool. It's all good. And I wanted to talk to Joe about it, and I wanted to bring him on the podcast because his podcast is terrific. 15 minutes or less. It's called the Nerd Dad Podcast.
Hey, that's interesting. We only go 15 minutes too, Joe.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm ready to get out then.
Per 15 minutes per person we're sewering. Yes. But I want to know, because my kids, like, I got 2 kids in school. One really just grade 12. He's just kind of mailing it in with the last couple of classes, so he doesn't really give a shit. Seriously. Merrick, he's the king. And then I got Jake, who's 15 in grade 9, and he's super common sense oriented. He believes that there's a virus, and we talk about it, and we've navigated the waters together. So I'm not that concerned if they do go to school or they don't go to school, but we don't have any vulnerable people in our house, Joe, and I know you do. Yes. How does this, like, when you see the dicking around, like the, pulling a lockdown, pushing a lockdown, ease restrictions, kids in school, like you got no time to prepare. I don't know if you've got caregiving. I just want to know what your deal is.
So it's a joke, and it has been from the beginning, right? They didn't deal with this up front properly. Mm-hmm. And since then, it's just kind of snowballed in and out of control. And with each lockdown, there's less and less trust that the lockdown is necessary.
Yeah.
So now we're going to what, number 4, like you said? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I don't think I'm going to see less people on the roads tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to see less people at Walmart. I don't think they don't give a shit anymore because they're tired of the inconsistencies. From a standpoint of having someone vulnerable in the household, 10 days after my wife gave birth to our second child, she was hospitalized with pneumonia. So she's been considered high risk this whole time. Mm-hmm. So we have taken every precaution. I haven't actually been in a grocery store since March of last year. Everything has been curbside pickup. Yeah, curbside pickup or delivery. Everything gets sterilized before it comes in the house still.
So, like, if you order groceries, do you wipe your groceries down with wet wipes and stuff like that?
Still doing it.
And Absolutely. For a year, you've been doing this for a fucking year?
Yeah, a grocery order takes about 3 hours because it comes in. Shit. I go to wherever, I pick it up. come home, and we have like an assembly line of I unpack it, I wipe it down, goes inside the house. And if it's like dry goods and stuff like that, we'll just leave it in the garage. We won't even bring it into the house, just in case.
What, like macaroni and cheese boxes?
Yeah,
and,
shit like that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it in the garage because it's out of the house. It's not likely to be touched until we absolutely need it. So these lockdowns, and it's a joke at this point. And I think if you're going to take the precautions, you're going to do it individually for your respective family. And you've already taken the steps. Again, we've been doing this for a year now. I'm in a routine. I'm good. They can add restrictions. They can release.
You've accepted all the bullshit you have to go through on a daily basis to be able to live no matter if there's a lockdown, because you're not operating under any auspices other than what's in my family's best health interests.
Exactly. I'm not worried about my freedoms.
No, can I ask you a question, Joe?
Yeah.
Is there, because this is what I keep going back to, from the perspective of trying to give our public officials some kind of an out. Do you think there was something at the front end that they should have done differently that would have made a difference? Or do you think we would have still had the same level of angst and sort of separation of beliefs with respect to what we're going through?
Great question.
I know it's in depth. I think the only way to have stopped this and get further ahead of it is like total shutdown. So the restrictions that they're talking about putting in place for tomorrow, like reducing the aisles in Walmart and making sure it's only like truly essential things. That's what should have been done from the onset. And I think if we had done that from the onset, people would be more forgiving of it 30, 60 days later. The trouble is they've tried to do it with 1 foot in the water, 1 foot out. And here we are a year later, still 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And
same inconsistencies as well.
Except now it's running wild. And the level of distrust is so high. You have covered it. I have talked about it on my show. You can't even really say the word COVID or, wear a mask without
triggering somebody.
Yeah. It's nuts now.
Yeah. Well, this morning, and this is interesting because I'm on this podcast a couple of times a week with people from back east, and even you guys know about Grace Life Church. You might even know the name of the pastor that's been arrested and let out, and fines didn't go through.
Grace Life Church. What's the name of the pastor?
James Coates. Pastor James Coates.
And this church is in just outside of Edmonton. Is that correct?
Yes, it's in the area, right?
Okay,
and they've been holding church, whatever, what do you call them? Services on the weekends now.
Good one. Eh? There's a guy that hasn't been to church in a while.
The thing. That thing.
I was raised by hippies. Like I've never even cracked a Bible. I have no clue about religion at all.
Didn't have your weed in it?
I try to avoid talking about. But the thing is, my message today was, in the last couple of days on the air was here, because there was the expectation we were going to be doing what you guys are doing right now, more restrictions, more lockdowns. And I'm like, if I owned a business, I wouldn't shut down. Not if you're letting that church go, right? Yeah. They've been going nonstop since this whole thing started. Why am I following the rules when it doesn't seem to be any ramifications for somebody that isn't? The people are going to the services. The people that run the church, they're not getting in trouble. They went to jail. They got let out. Nothing happened to them. They got their money back. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. How can you expect? I mean, you're a father, Joe. We've all raised kids. You have to have a strong message in the house. You can't let one kid get away with one thing and the other one not get away with, the same thing. Like, it's just ridiculous. And then at 9:00 today, they went in and boarded up the church. And now I'm like, well, is it a little too late now?
No.
Anyway,
they lost me when they said that pet grooming was an essential service. When I heard that, I'm like, I'm out. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah. There's been so many inconsistent messages from the government on all levels, and I don't know why we can't seem to get everybody on the same page. And they're all to blame. I don't give a shit what party you're from, Liberal, NDP. It doesn't matter anymore. To me, it just doesn't matter. They're all making the same mistakes. They've all been a part of the reason why we politicized this whole nightmare. And I think they could have done a lot of things a lot better than they have. And now we still have a problem with the vaccines. And I hope they yank their heads out of their asses. And just because, to me, all these conversations about lockdowns, masks, social distancing, fighting with people in the grocery store over the tomatoes, all that shit needs to go away. We need to just focus on getting those that want to get vaccinated, get them vaccinated so we can get back to some semblance of normalcy. Why are we so far behind on that? Figure that out, guys, and we'll try to move on.
Do the politicians watch the show? Or do they watch them?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. Every politician does.
Trust me, I've heard from local politicians that have tuned this in. Yeah.
The thing about the church stuff, and it's Mike, you make a fucking great point, Locke, is that it's a microcosm of the bigger issue. The bigger issue is that we don't really have a congruent set of hard and fast rules that people have to play by, right? That it is a massive health emergency. There's going to be a declaration of emergency and like literal emergency announcement tomorrow, which is Thursday. And that announcement is this is in Ontario. It's going to tell people you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. There's going to be modified a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but they're still not addressing where the infections are coming from and why we're here. Right. Mm-hmm. Which we pointed out yesterday. They knew was coming. They knew it was happening and they did this anyway. They still didn't give a shit, which, as to your point, we talked about that again yesterday, is, the use of the issue for political or personal gain, which is continuing to happen. Where Grace Life Church is actually kind of funny. The Alberta Health Services finally, I mean, people in Ontario still allowed to do this. People across the fucking country are allowed to do this. And this is my biggest bugaboo with this whole thing, is the wedge that religion has driven into people's psyche, where they actually don't really feel like paying attention to fucking science. So someone has to pay attention to it for them. Alberta Health Services, in this case, shut down Grace Life Church. Today, AHS has physically closed Grace Life Church. If you want to read the actual announcement, I believe this is it. Alberta Health Services closed Grace Life Church. For several months, they attempted to work collaboratively with Grace Life Church. No good. An order issued by them December 17th, blah, blah, blah. Another order issued, obtained. A closure order issued here, March 27th. Another letter sent to Pastor Coates here. So because these guys decided not to follow it, they got a little bit of this, which is they had basically the entire place shut down by it's almost as if a restaurant served raw cat. And same thing. It's the same basic premise that Alberta Health Services went in. I fucking hope I never find out. But my point is this: is that we haven't done this to this point. We haven't gone the full Monty. We have, and again, having parents, like, if you teach all three of your kids how to act three different ways, you're gonna have fucking chaos.
Yeah,
like that's. Yeah. That's exactly what this is, because people are under the illusion that their free will is actually free. People are under the illusion that freedom means you can be a cocksucker. You don't have to care about the other person next to you. You don't have to care about your neighbor.
Specifically, though, you're allowed to do, right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Now, totally here's what I would suggest they would have done, because, and again, this sounds. And this might be the libertarian coming through. I would have preferred, I swear to God, I would have preferred somebody stepping up to a podium and saying, all right, here's the thing. This is going to kill a bunch of people. We have the numbers and we have the experts to prove it. But I know now, before we even get started, and they knew what they were up against, I know now that many of you might not necessarily agree with that.
Yeah.
Here's how we're going to handle it. If you are concerned about this, you need to find a way to protect yourself. Outside of that, good luck, fuckers. That's what they should have done.
Isn't that sort of what collectively is happening across the country? Seriously. That's what's happening right now.
I think more people would have done what Joe and what you and what I'm doing. We're all protecting our families.
Yeah.
I had some guy fighting with me because I went on the air today and said, our little buddy James P. White, we found a workaround on him getting the vaccine. He's 4 feet tall and he's 140 pounds. His BMI is through the roof. He's obese, right? So we're like, dude, you should take advantage of that. And he goes, I don't want to jump. Like, maybe there's somebody ahead of me that needs it more than I do. I said, no, we all need it. And I went on the air and I said, everybody should go and get this damn thing. Yeah. If you've got a loophole to get the vaccine, go get it, damn it.
Absolutely.
And I got the idea from you, Dean, who you're jumping the queue. You're getting it tomorrow. And I'm like, I have no judgment of that man. I have zero judgment of Dean Blundell because he's getting the vaccine, because he's taking care of himself, and we should all find a way to get this damn thing. The sooner, the better. Go get it, Jimmy. And then I got a guy like all over me on social media, mad at me.
I haven't had mine yet.
Well, no. He's mad at me for promoting the vaccine. So back to my original point. You can't fucking win.
Yeah.
You can't win. I didn't even tell him to get the vaccine. I didn't say go get it. I even said out loud, if you don't want it, don't get it. I think they would have had more impact on Canada and Canadians as a whole if they would have said, good luck, fuckers. Take care of yourself. We're going to go build some emergency ICUs. Right?
I don't disagree with you.
Have cameras and watch just on the news every day, watch people die. You would have way more impact.
A ticker at the bottom with the numbers going up constantly.
Yeah, with their names, right? Joe Williamson, dead.
COVID.
Didn't fucking wash his groceries. Lachlan Cross, alcoholic pig in the bars every night, dead. Way more impact. I'm telling you right now, we would have had much more compliance if we would have done that shit.
If we just highlighted the like absolute fucking atrocities that have been happening instead of not talking about them and talking about who believes in what or talking about lockdowns that should or shouldn't be happening or locking people a quarter of the way down, right? Like that's the but that's the reality here, as Eminem said. That's the reality here. That's the mentality here. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that have politicized the whole thing. However, I will say this. I don't know if I did jump the queue because I made my appointment this morning. It was super easy. I took people on the ride, booking my appointment now. This is like, I don't know, about 8:30. It was right at 8:30. Went for a ride. They put me in queue. 10 minutes turned into 3 minutes, turned into 6 minutes, turned into 1 minute. It kept going back and forth like you do when you're updating your computer. And then I got sent to this site. I created a quick thing. I put in my postal code, fed in my number, and boom, shalak-lot, boom. This is what Dean gets for free as a 48-year-old male. And the age group went from, in certain areas, including mine, went from like 45 to 55 all of a sudden. And there was no information available for this. There was none. Do you know how I found out? This is the fucking truth, is that I got an email from my son who is dating someone who works in the healthcare industry, or his mom works in the healthcare, and she's on an alert system. And so they sent the alert to him. He sent it to me. I made the appointment this morning. Boom. But there's no information out there to go and make these appointments either. They just say visit certain websites. They don't tell you what you need. They don't tell you how you need it. And you know what I thought about that? Because we talked about this in the capacity with which Canada's socialist medical leanings come out in spades. And the funny part for me was, thinking about this one-tier healthcare system where the people who aren't taking advantage of get mad if other people do take advantage of it, right? So if like a 7-year-old person's behind me in line, which, by the way, I got an email today and they're like, just stay in your car until your appointment at 12:10. Walk in, we'll give you the shot, head right back out. And I'm like, fucking perfect. I don't have to stand in line with any of these people either. This is going to be incredible. I just sit and drink coffee for 20 minutes, and then I go in, get my shot, and I leave. And I'm getting the Pfizer shot, by the way. But my point is this. If I hope to, if someone behind me has pre-existing conditions, right? And I said this yesterday in the podcast, and they're 70, and I'm 48 with none, and I get that shot, and the person behind me, that's the last dose. I made my appointment. Person behind me goes, what about me? You're going to have a fucking serious PR nightmare on your hands. Yeah. Like that's how we think in this country, which is no, you can't even think about protecting you or your family until someone else who's a little bit older and a little more fucked up than you does it first. And those people aren't even fucking doing it. And on top of it, there's no information out there for people to go, okay, well, now it's my turn. Like the guessing game, when I told people that I got my, like when I put that thing out that I got my vaccination appointment, flooded with notes, emails, texts from people. Where is it? Where did you get that information? How can I get it? Are you sure you're not jumping the line? Did you, a buddy of mine just sent me, did you lie on your form? I'm like, fuck no. Like, but having said that, not opposed to people lying on their forms at this point. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I'm trying to age before your eyes so I can get in there and say, yeah, I'm 48. No problem.
Is baldness on there?
Oh, man, I
No.
hope so.
No.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
The Flies with the cards of the rules.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows. It's all broken telephone. I know
I
a
know.
guy who knows a guy and who knows a guy who can get you the vaccine.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be how we're. The rumor mill shouldn't be getting people vaccines. We shouldn't be learning about this. Dean's son, who works at a vape store, shouldn't be giving him a heads up on vaccine. It's nuts.
Medical advisor.
Jesus Christ. Oh,
Isn't that fucking incredible?
it is.
Like it
You know
just
what?
the stories.
In Alberta, I don't know if it's the same in Ontario. So I don't want to make, I don't want to suggest things for somebody to do that they can't do. But in Alberta, we have heard that you can get on the Shoppers website and sign up for a notification. So if they have availability, because we're dealing with the same thing in Alberta that you guys are dealing with in Ontario, the people that are that they're supposed to be getting it aren't necessarily signing up. So they're taking out all these doses every day and they're not giving them to everybody. So Shoppers at the end of the day is like, well, we still have whatever number, and if we don't give them out, they're going to waste. So now they're sending out notifications and trying to fill these spots, which is, I think, at least proactive on Shoppers Drug Mart's point. And it's a good thing. So I signed up on that.
Did you sign up? Did you sign up for your?
I did. I got my wife. I got Jimmy to sign up, and and then he was able to put like I said, because he's 4 feet tall, 140 pounds, and he was able to sign up based on the BMI index. And I'm like, take advantage of it, man. I mean,
He didn't want to use his fat to jump the queue.
No.
What a nice guy.
Well, that's the way you've met him, Dean. That's the way he's wired, right?
Yeah.
So I had to yell at him for half an hour before he did it. So, yeah. And now, if there's openings in the next week and I qualify, my wife and I will get a notice and we'll be able to go in. And you can do the same thing on the Alberta Health Services webpage. But I've heard that the Shoppers one is more effective. Anyway.
Well, which one is it?
I picture people lining up at Shoppers Drug Mart right before close, like they're trying to buy a PS5, just waiting to see if they have any left over in stock.
That's happening.
Think about that. Think about that for a second. That's life.
Yeah, man.
Like people are lining up for a PS4 for their lives. Like that I'm on a website this morning scrolling for my life.
Yeah.
And the lives of people around me. Yeah. And the ability just to go back to life. And the ability to fucking be a good neighbor. Like all the good things, right? Like I'm not motivated by anything bad here. I'm not motivated by what this might do for me or to me. I'm not motivated by, getting in front of somebody or trying to screw someone out of something. I'm literally motivated by all the fucking right things here. I'm motivated by the fact that I'd like to be around for a little bit longer. I don't want to have unbelievable struggles through the fucking original normal flu. The people are it's the normal flu. I don't feel like I want to struggle with this. So we're all doing this for our lives. And yet
the $25 DVD player.
Yeah, that's true. But here's the funny part. Is even after I tweeted out this thing that basically said you have zero reason to not get this vaccine, like none. Every non-biased medical study that I've read, every single one, from the Journal of American Medicine to the Johns Hopkins University Resource Center, which is chock full of information, to every Canadian medical study, the Queen's medical study, McGill medical studies of every vaccine and the efficacy of those vaccines to keep you safe. Not just keep you safe, but keep you away from severe illness and death, right? That's It's it. That's all you want. It's 100% effective.
It's a lot of reading, Dean.
And it is a lot of reading, but
I'll just take your word for it.
And still, I'm getting. Well, you should read it because I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm getting emails like this.
To me?
Probably. So I tweet that I'm going to go get the vaccine. This guy's like, I won't hesitate once the trial is done. It's been done for fucking months. And then he goes, until then, I'm not going to be bullied into being a guinea pig. Now, keep in mind, Chirp's Golden, and I checked into his profile. Good dude, probably a good dude. Not a doctor. No medical training. The people that put these vaccines together, all doctors, the smartest in the world. The world. And they're like, it's 100% cool. And none of these doctors have political leanings. None of them have relationships with Hydra or any other criminal organization that wants to change your DNA. None of them. But guys like Golden Chirp or Chirp's Golden, he's like, I don't trust it. That's going to be the last holdout here, right? That's going to be the last portion, which is there's people that are like
not trusting it, though, Dean. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? There's levels of not trusting putting something into your body.
Okay, so what is it?
I can relate to that.
Okay, so let me ask you something.
I'm going to get it.
When you go to the doctor and you get vaccinated for anything else, do you have any questions? Do you go, what's in there? Tell me how this was made.
No.
What do you say?
No, I got the shingles
vaccine. Did you get the shingles vaccine? Did you ask what was in it?
No, I absolutely not. I just heard that it works. I went online, did a little bit of research. Why didn't you ask what was in it?
Because
I'm a dumb guy and I just don't want my face to. I don't want shingles in my face. I've had 2 or 3 friends so I went and I got the shingles vaccine. I've had vaccines before. I don't get the flu shot. Yeah. People think I'm anti-flu because I don't get the flu shot. I'm like, no, my doctor even told me you're healthy. Healthy people don't need to get the flu shot. So I don't get the flu shot. This is different. Vaccine, I don't do research on it.
Dude, that's because this isn't the flu.
I'm like 90% of the rest of the population. I don't read what's in it. I mean,
you trust what the doctor has gone to school for many, many years. You are going to them for advice and they are telling you. I've never
I wonder if some of these people
go to the doctor. Take these pills. All right.
I wonder if some of these people go to the doctor with a broken arm and go, listen, it might look broken, but it isn't. And the doctor's like, it's fucking at a 70-degree angle, your forearm.
Yeah.
No, I don't trust traditional medicine. I don't trust that you, a doctor, have my best interest in mind. That's what's happening here. But the stakes are way higher. Like fucking 1 billion times higher. Hey, you broke your
compound of that arm.
You got a compound fracture of your femur. I don't see that. That's what we're dealing with here, Locke. That's what's happening.
I get it. But I do also understand people being leery about putting something in their bodies they're not sure about, especially in the world that we live in and how much crazy talk there is around this stuff, right?
No, I had a meeting today.
I understand.
I had a meeting today with the cannabis people. One of the people there was a guy named Joe from Hashco. Joe from Hashco showed me a study of street hash, regular street hash they just picked up and had tested. Arsenic, mercury, fecal matter. This is street hash people are buying. 4 different kinds of banned pesticides. I say, no one has a problem putting that in their fucking mouth. No one has a problem smoking that.
Does it get you stoned?
How about those guys that are like, I'm not the guy that goes to the reservation to pick up his smokes or goes to the gas station to get his smokes, and he's like, the vaccine's for fucking pussies. You don't know what's in that thing. Hang on a second. Don't get the fucking vaccine. Oh, this I need to light another smoke. Get me some of that homemade moonshine. Let me eat that and drink some of that too. Like that's what we're dealing with here. And so any assertion to the fact that your friends have a problem putting a vaccine in their system, like your buddy racist Steve or whatever his name is,
Sean,
whatever.
Yes.
Whatever.
Way, I'm
guaranteed
working on
he's
getting
not
your mask exemption card for you. I'll mail it out right away.
I'd love one just to have one.
And the negative COVID test.
But do you guys kind of see what I'm saying? You see where and a service dog. But you see where I'm going with this? Yeah. Like, there is no common sense. If you put all of these excuses through the filter of common sense, at the end of this whole thing, everybody should be forced to get this vaccine. Forced.
I am on the other side
held
of the
down. What's that? No, I'm not.
I disagree with
right
you.
In the tent. I am, because I'll tell you what, the greater good stands to suffer for it. And I'm not about that.
I'm against it.
Don't care.
If there was a way to put them on an island, I'd be for that. But
what if we did this? What if we put them all in the Rogers Center in Edmonton, and we just had snipers up in the gondola, and their guns were just full of these little syringes, and you just kind of picked people off with them at random, and it was like, oh, so is it? And then everybody has to walk out. I'm sure it's going to hurt a lot.
We're getting into danger zone here. I'm going to say something that's going to get me into a lot of trouble.
It's impossible to get into trouble here. You can't, because listen, those people, and if I haven't drawn the parallel between medical professional and idiot yet, that's what we're dealing with. So the medical professionals are telling you to do it. The idiots are telling you the medical professionals didn't do it right. Right? I guarantee you none of those people have fucking been through a biology class in the last 20 years. Nonetheless, any medical training or scientific information or knowledge at all.
Well, and Terry,
for sure, none of the guys that
Terry,
emailed
who's
me
pissed off at me. Literally, his name was Terry and Jennifer. They're fighting with me about me promoting the vaccine on the show. They're mad at me for promoting it, yet they're okay promoting "don't take it" all over their fucking social media. Like, it's just mind-boggling, the hypocrisy, and they don't see it. They don't see it in themselves. It's so frustrating. And again, you can't force people, though, because all it does, Dean, you
should be allowed to. We should have to.
You tell Terry and Jennifer that they have to get it. All it does is fuel their narrative of what they think they're living in.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just creating more madness. You're just creating a bigger divide than you. That's why when you hear anybody talk about the vaccine on television, any of these press conferences, for those who want it, they repeat it over and over and over again, because they know if they say, listen, you have to get this, it's going to be chaos. People are going to be livid about being forced to do something.
For the Terrys of the world, I'm at the point now where it's like, don't complain to me, complain to your politician. Whoever's local in your area, write them a letter. Yeah. Like I can't force you to get the vaccine. I can't tell you not to get the vaccine. I can't do shit to actually affect your real life.
And you're not changing their mind. You're not changing their mind with a podcast, a radio show.
No.
You're not changing their mind on social media. They're done. Yeah. They're buried in it, right?
You know what? And here's the thing. I bet you all of those people that we're talking about that chooses not to get a vaccine over something they read on the internet, which fucking blows my mind, right? Honey, I just uncovered something on the internet all the doctors in the world missed.
Yeah. I just watched this YouTube video from this doctor in Brazil.
Unbelievable to me.
Honey, get over here, watch this. We're not getting the vaccine. Look at him. He's wearing a lab coat.
Yeah. It's got to be serious, right? Look at him. He's bald. He's got a name tag. It's embroidered.
Holy fuck.
It's embroidered. He's got to be a doctor. Listen, honey, listen. I talked to a guy at work today. He told me the truth about the vaccine.
Yeah. Doug. He's coming over on the weekend for a fire.
Yeah.
And a barbecue.
Yeah. He doesn't work in the medical profession. His license was suspended for passing along this information, which means he's right? Because no one wants that to get out.
He makes great MDA in his fucking basement.
Yes, he does. Unbelievable.
In plastic buckets.
Why? Why is this so easy for me? That's the thing. Why is it so easy for me to understand? Why is it so hard for other people to understand? One of the things that drives me the craziest is big time. Are the fact that no one's talking about long-term effects. I read a story on the Associated Press today I wanted to share with you. The headline, suck on this for a bit. A third of COVID survivors suffer neurological or mental disorders. A third of the people who survive. 29 people have survived this. That means you got 10 million people who are severely mentally or physically ill still. 1 in 3 COVID-19 survivors in a study of more than 230,000, mostly American patients, were diagnosed with a brain or psychiatric disorder within 6 months, suggesting the pandemic could lead to a wave of mental and neurological problems. How's that? Researchers who were conducting an analysis said it was not clear how it was linked, but there were common diagnoses among 14 disorders they looked at. Post-COVID cases of stroke, dementia, and other neurological orders were rare. Although individual risks for most disorders are small, the effects across the whole population may be substantial, said a guy from Oxford, not some guy that you work with who's a huge tool.
Listen, don't you be shit-talking Barry. I fucking trust Barry as a new truck.
He gets better. Listen, look at this. I'm just reading. Previous study by the same said 20% of COVID-19 survivors were diagnosed with a psychiatric disorder within 3 months. The new findings published in some journal, the Lancet Psychiatry Journal, it's actually a really good one, very non-biased, analyzed health records of almost 250,000 people. 34% were diagnosed with neurological. What kind? Great question. Anxiety, 17%, mood disorders, 14%, most common. And then, of course, you had the intensive care with severe strokes within 6 months, 2% diagnosed with dementia, some as young as
When did this
12.
come out?
Today.
That came out today. Oh,
Associated
Jesus.
Press, the world's most unbiased news source, pardon me.
My mother got COVID at the beginning of this whole thing in Vancouver before they even knew. Like, her doctor was like, I don't know what's going on. There's a whole bunch of people in here. They don't look good. Mm-hmm. And then she went home and she was fucking sick. And she's been in and out of the doctor's office now for months dealing with stuff after the fact. Brent, who is on the Escalator, Kids on an Escalator podcast, he's dealing with post symptoms of getting COVID, right? And he's a younger. How old's Brent? He's in his 30s.
45.
How old?
45.
Jesus, he looks good for 45. Anyway,
sexy, hot.
Yeah,
really,
he is stunning, man.
Got a great voice.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things I've been hearing. It just seems to be getting more and more.
People don't realize that, you know, the anti-masker groups like the Chris Guys of the world, they don't realize that that's part of the equation, nor do they care, right? Which is just another knock on how big of an asshole you have to be to not be taking this seriously. And I got news like literally before we came on the podcast. I wasn't going to talk about it, but my niece has it. Now my brother, who's 50, and my sister-in-law, who's 44, are both going to get checked for it today, and he believes he might have it. So, you know, this isn't a joke. This is like, you know, and I'm not telling people this because, all of a sudden it's touched my family. I'm telling you this because can happen to everybody. And these people took precautions. My brother and sister-in-law took precautions. They were super careful, but the explosion in BC is 3 times what it is here in Ontario with the variants, and that's what she's got.
Yeah. We got a variant in our house too. My daughter's boyfriend got it up in Fort Mac, and he was locked down and he got pretty sick. He's a young kid too, and it knocked him on his ass. The one thing, no, not he was at home, but and he said the interesting thing about it was he said the amount of communication that he got from Alberta Health Services, as we spend numerous hours on this podcast shitting all over these public officials for the job they're doing. It's worth highlighting things that they're doing well, and I think they have on a tracking basis done extraordinarily well. At least in Alberta. I don't know about other provinces, but from what I've heard from people that have had it, the amount of communication and then the following up with people that they may have been in contact with.
It's been good.
A week or two has been phenomenal, and I think that's
nothing
part
like
of the
that
reason.
out here. Nothing like that in Ontario.
They've got that lockdown here in Alberta, and I think it's part of the reason why they've been able to keep the numbers where they are. But the variant, he was told he had the UK variant, and that variant apparently is making people and younger people quite a bit sicker. Because I've known people that have had COVID when it first came around, and some of them were like, man, I knew there was something going on, and I had a fever, and I was a little tired, but I didn't get really sick. And they weren't saying it to be a dick. They were saying it because it surprised them that something that, has shut the world down had very little impact on them. And then others, like my mom and her boyfriend in Vancouver, were fucking laid out for 2 weeks, and then are still, both of them, dealing with the ramifications after having it in January last year.
Right.
So it's just that's the scary thing for me, is just the complete unknown.
Like, it comes with a suit of issues.
Yeah.
Right? It's
So
not
many
just
unknowns.
you might die, which is a distinct possibility. It comes with literally luggage packed with issues that we don't know about. We just showed you the fucking study, right? Like, this is a fact.
Yeah.
These are facts. We're not lying. So yeah, it's the unpredictability of it. It's not knowing, and then on top of it, not having your government give a shit about you, right? It's just like, it is what it is.
I think we overthink everything nowadays. I don't know if it's as simple as the government not caring. I think that's too easy.
Here it is. Let me show you. Can I show you something? Let me show you something. Schools are a big deal. No, hang on. Ontario Education Minister just came out. Pending stay-at-home order will not require public schools to close. So all those teachers teaching all those
I get
kids,
it, Dean. I understand it. I
Small
just don't know if it's that
classrooms,
easy.
Fucking
No
30.
ventilation.
No ventilation. No
I
nothing.
don't know if it's as easy as that. I think they're at a loss. They don't know what to fucking do anymore.
That's it though. That's a failure in leadership, right?
It's a failure in
not
leadership. It's not. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't give a shit about everybody.
I would agree with that. They may have been overwhelmed by the moment. They may have not consulted the right people, but this is a failure in leadership.
So,
There's a saying that you don't be the smartest guy in the room, and I feel like some of these guys thought they were the smartest guy in the room.
Okay, so let me ask you something. If you think they give a shit, right?
I think they do.
Why?
I think
Okay.
politicians generally.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do. And let me give you an example.
I can't go to bed thinking that tonight. I can't.
Really?
Yeah.
You have to. You have to. You have to. Tonight, you have to go to bed knowing that Jason Kenney, his number one interest in all of this is his
Cheeseburgers.
political fucking fortune, then cheeseburgers, then making sure he doesn't upset mom before he gets home, then maybe Jesus. Same with Doug Ford. Doug Ford's biggest concern,
He's
which
more
is
of a Quiznos guy, though, I think.
cold cut combo. Doug Ford's biggest issue is making sure that he gets all the value he can get out of everything to do with this virus for himself, for his own political fortune, for his own legacy. There's a reason he didn't allow the Canadian Army into the province to help out with long-term care homes when we had people dying in their own piss. Right? There's a reason for that. Just like there's a reason he chose to open up our economy when he knew full well these variants were here and out of control. Again, the black circle. He knew that. That's
Back
not
to
a
the
guy,
number of voices, though. Dean.
That's not a guy. Well, no, but
They got
why would
too
he open
many
it up?
voices.
But why would he open up? He opened up because he wanted people to like him. He was trying to do something that benefited him and his party when he couldn't win. There's no winning here anyway. The only winning that we're doing is people like us are trying to encourage people not to give up and go tell the fucking truth and go get vaccinated. That's it.
Was it not though him trying to minimize the economic damage? Like, look, I'm with Locke on this one. I don't think politicians completely don't give a shit.
And you guys are dumb.
Fair enough. I've been called worse. I think they are misguided.
Yeah.
You're so nice, dude. You're so nice, Joe.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I think that every politician right now.
I heard he kicked a dog once.
Several. I fucking hate dogs.
Then
I
you
know.
suck.
Dogs suck too. Dogs are
Cats
terrible.
suck.
Politicians
Dogs
are
rule.
great.
No, they're not.
That is my official position going forward. Fuck dogs, yay politics. So, but I'm telling you, I don't think that they went into this thinking, I don't believe they're bad. I just don't. I think every politician
I'm
gets
with you,
it.
Joe.
They get into difference. I'm here to help. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to help. Then they get something they cannot possibly handle.
Yeah.
Minimize.
So can I ask you a question, Joe? How were they able to handle it in New Zealand, where they have had no lockdowns and they've eviscerated the disease? They had a fucking crowded house concert last month in the open air, thousands of people.
Better
Same with
politicians.
Australia. How? No, because their politicians made decisions based on public interest, not self-interest. That's the biggest difference, dude. That's all. Need another example? Joe Biden went into the White House 3 months ago. They're doing 4 million people a day, and they're number one in the world when it comes to vaccinating people. They hadn't. We were ahead of them in the vaccination race in January. That's someone that actually gives a shit. Say what you will.
They're doing well.
Party
They're doing very well
because they give a shit, fellas. That's the difference. It's the care factor. There's none of it here. None of it. Zero. We have 2/3 of available vaccines. So 2/3 of vaccines that have already been allotted, like first shots for people. 2/3 of those have been given. There's still a third that they haven't in Ontario because they haven't thought that far ahead because they don't care.
Shitty leadership, shitty execution.
Because they don't care.
They went and they acquired the vaccines. They don't know what to do with them, but they acquired them. They took the time to acquire them.
Are you telling me that the government of Ontario, once they got vaccines, had no idea what to do with them?
Absolutely. I think they were befuddled.
By the
logistics.
We have roadkill as a government. If that's
agreed.
The case.
Little crowded house.
Yeah, we were doing this in New Zealand last month. No big deal.
Don't drain.
I know you gotta go. I know you gotta go, Joe.
Yeah,
I know Locke's gotta go. We'll clam the podcast here.
I don't have to go.
You don't?
I was gonna crack a beer.
You might as well. All right.
It was really nice meeting you. How old are your kids?
5 and 2.
5 and 2.
By the way, Joe took all the heat on Instagram for us this weekend. The Chris Sky guys came out. This is one of the tweets that Joe was like, should I put this out? Some guy says you smoke crack. And I'm like, I've never smoked crack. This is from a guy like this is an anti-masker. I heard Dean Blundell smokes crack, was actually the first to smoke it with Rob Ford, I heard too.
I sent it to Dean. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Are you cool with this?
I would have known exactly what Dean would have done with that.
So anyway, Joe, thanks for doing this. That Nerd Dad podcast available anywhere you get your fine podcast. If you're a parent, you will love it. He covers a ton of ground. He also manages our Instagram. I'm pretty sure our Facebook too. Is that
Facebook,
correct?
Yeah, and I'm a little bit on Twitter.
A little bit on Twitter, manages all of our socials basically. But thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. You stay safe and
Really
have fun
nice
at work.
meeting you, Joe.
Nice meeting you, Locke. Take care, guys.
Take care of your family, okay?
Bye.
Take care.
All right.
There you go. Joe Williamson, That Nerd Dad podcast. Good dude.
That's a good he's a great kid. Wow.
He really is.
Do you remember being that young and having a young family? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember caring? Remember caring? Do you miss young kids?
I love the little one. I miss the babies.
Yeah.
I loved them when they were little. I was
Is it every parent
stressed when they came though?
Yeah.
That just about killed me.
What, when your kids arrived?
Yeah. Yeah. I was not ready. Well, shit. Well, I'm 50. I'm still an immature dick. So I was wildly concerned about this whole perception I had of the idea of what you're supposed to be as a father.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh my God, I'm going to screw these fucking kids up and it's going to be my fault.
So you were always nervous, afraid to parent because you're afraid to make a bad decision that might fuck them up?
Well, right out of the gates, I kind of told the wife, I said, you're going to have to do most of the heavy lifting in this whole parenting department, right? I'll
least
weigh
you're
in when
honest.
you need me. But you're it's on you, girl. Right? Good luck. I'll be in the basement drinking. I have some advice. I have one. People ask me all the time because my girls are awesome. Well, you've met my girls on this podcast a couple of times.
Yep.
I have two amazing, well-adjusted adult young ladies as daughters, so 23 and 21. And the one thing that I remember saying and learning at a very young age was, as a father, they just got to know you love them. That's it. There's no other rules. You might want to avoid putting cigarettes out on them, but the only thing I ever tell people is just make sure they know that you love them and do it as often as you possibly can. It wouldn't even hurt to say it every day. So, yeah.
I'm like that too. When my kids leave anywhere they go, I always tell them I love them because I want them to know that listen, this is home. Anywhere you need to be, I'm here. And I love them just in case you never see them again. Like, fuck, anything can happen, right?
Yep. And you know what?
And
I've met your boys on this podcast, and they seem like well-adjusted young men.
Incredible.
Yep.
And obstacles, they've all faced them. They still do. They always will. But that's why it's important for me to be serious about this stuff, right? Like we can joke around about Grace Life Church and God not having, the answer to the vaccine, and we can make fun of people and we can say how stupid people are, but I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about any of it. What I care about is that I show my kids accountability, truth, virtue, and temperance. Because in those things you find courage. Do you know what I mean? In those things, you become a courageous individual. When you can be kind when it's hard to not be kind, when you can show some fucking temperance and you can relax and you can make a good decision, and you're only looking for the objective truth. That's it. And now that I see my kids start to embody those things through the process, specifically with this, right? To understand that we live in the reality that we're having a really shitty year. My kid's grade 12, not going to get to graduate. Grade 9, first year of high school, hasn't enjoyed it because he's been, doing 2 classes a week because it's all bullshit. We're all going through the same bullshit. But the lessons that they've learned, because this hasn't been about me forcing my beliefs on them, right? This hasn't been about me trying to curate a narrative with my kids, whether there is a vaccine that's got efficacy, whether we will be safe, whether you should wear a mask. I let them make those decisions, but I arm them with proper information, right? That's it. That's all you can do when you've got kids. And so why I'm going to get my vaccine tomorrow, do I believe it's going to save my life and I won't die as a result of COVID? Not necessarily. No more than I did when I got vaccines for everything else that I've gotten vaccines for, especially the ones that I remember, whether it's been shingles or whatever the situation is. But I have a responsibility to kind of hang around and make sure that my kids understand that there's a way to live life where you can have peace of mind. And that's by taking care of a few virtues in your own life, right? And that plays into what I understand about trying to encourage them to be mindful about how we're going to deal with what we're dealing with right now. All of them have suffered. We've all suffered, every single one of us. And you can't fight that suffering, right? Like no one's gonna fight the natural world in the universe as it's laid out now. We're fucked. We have a virus. There's a pandemic. Everyone hates everybody. I don't care about any of that stuff. My internal focus has nothing to do with the external. Despite me doing this all the time, despite us talking about it and trying to be responsible, I don't care if anybody believes anything that we push when it comes to fact. We're just putting out fact. And the reason why is because I want my kids to say, my dad did his best. But if I don't, then they don't learn to think for themselves. They don't learn through the process. And then they become sheep of one side or the other, right? Yeah. Encouraging your kids and encouraging the people you love to go and find proper information.
To think for themselves.
Yeah. To identify what's real and what isn't, and not to fight against things you're not going to win against. That's what they've learned.
The only part of this equation that I think we're missing here is also allowing people to make mistakes, not just your kids, but yourself, right? And and also having the courage to say, you know what, I fucked up. And we don't live in that world anymore. Everyone is so protective of that, and they're so cautious about making mistakes and so unwilling to accept the mistakes they made. I think it's why people dig in so harsh now as well.
Yeah,
I think that's
there's an embarrassment. Yeah, there's an embarrassment factor there for those people. Like you're talking about, can you forgive? So I did some work on free will recently. Been learning about it from a neuroscientist named Sam Harris. I know, right? But I want to know. I want to know what makes people people. I want to know why people believe craziness. I want to know why they don't dig in for education and information, real information. Why they just trust what other people say. I want to know. And it gets back to this thing called confirmation bias, right? The way that you have lived your life, you are predisposed to thinking your thoughts. You're predisposed to your actions because much like when you're running across the street and there's a car coming, but you probably got plenty of time. Your brain will tell your body to speed up, whether you know it or not, because it wants to keep you safe. So a lot of these people that have believed in these fucking podunk, wacky bullshit conspiracy theories really do believe them. Like, they really do. It's some people are doing it on purpose. Some are using it like the Chris Skies of the world. But a lot of these people, because their minds have been predisposed to everything that they've ever been taught by their parents or by their systems and how they've grown up. They're predisposed to believing all that wacky shit. So when they say something to you like, or when we talk to them and we go, hey, listen, maybe just get off the horse and start believing in science. Probably a good idea. Might be time. They get angry because you're telling them everything they've ever learned is a lie. So if you could kind of understand that we really don't have free will when it comes to asserting our beliefs. We have education, we've got experience, and then we've got a brain that basically is consistently lying to us. If you believe in evolutionary psychology and if you believe in neuroscience, your brain is like that. Your brain is like that dude that says, when you go, hey, do I look fat? Your brain is that friend of yours that says, no, you don't. You look great. But really, you do look fat. Sorry, by the way, you're going to say something?
Okay, hold on. You brought up Podunk?
Yeah.
A great Kid Rock song. After the show, Google it. You're going to love it.
Is it called Podunk?
Podunk.
Yeah. Podunk. That sounds like Podunk music.
It's a great Kid Rock song, man.
I've never heard it.
It's a good tune.
I like it.
Are we allowed to play music on this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, we're okay. Because it's restream. What about the YouTube feed? Does it fuck with the YouTube feed?
I don't know. I don't know any of the rules. All I do is do content. And if we get our PP back, I deal with it. That's what I do. I don't ask for
I only played like
permission.
12 seconds of it, just in case.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. It's been a big fucking show. We've had Crowded House and Kid Rock on it.
Not bad. Yeah, only 10 seconds of each, too, so we probably don't have to pay for it. All right, that's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks to Lachlan Cross, at Lachlan Cross on Twitter, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton, host of The Locker Room.
What are we doing
tomorrow?
tomorrow?
Edmonton, go listen. Yeah, tomorrow, 3 p.m. I can't remember, but I know we got a guest. I don't remember. We have a guest.
All right. We'll tweet about it.
Yeah, we got a guest.
We got a guest. Sure we do. By the way, it's not Jack Hill. Sure. I was trying to get Jay Hill on today.
Oh,
Jay Hill. Yes. Jay Hill is the leader of Wexit, which is now the Maverick Party.
Yeah.
And
he was going to come on and he flaked out.
No, well, there was a conversation about him coming on. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we were talking to him or people behind the scenes that were just trying to appease us to get us to stop to sending him notes. I think that'll be an interesting conversation. But if we bring in Jay Hill, Dean, we have to make sure that we have James on with that one. We need somebody that has some political smarts, right? Not that you don't, but James is politically wired.
He's totally writing me off before we do this podcast. Dean, we need someone on who's better than you, so make sure James is around. He would love this if he was on today, right?
Oh, fuck, James.
If we were talking about him and he knew we were talking about him in a positive way, like a really smart guy, he'd be like, can you make a promo out of that?
Yeah.
So there you go, James. There's your promo.
He's been hard on you about the promos lately.
Oh, yeah. Today he sent me one, too. He's like, dude, where's my promo? I want a promo about me. And I'm like, whatever.
Do better. Just text him back. Just say,
be funnier.
Be funnier. Yeah.
So easy. All right, man. Locker,
Okay.
thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me. That was a lot of fun, Dean.
Yeah, it was good. Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton. Didn't really want to do a whole COVID podcast, but context of our time, probably a good idea that we did it because the lockdown starts on Thursday. If you're in Ontario, just got a message from Canadian bobsled legend Jesse Lumsden. Jesse Lumsden from Calgary, Alberta. Quote, seems like Ontario's turning into a COVID dumpster fire. Stay safe. Yeah, we will. We will. Anyway, I'm going to live stream my COVID shot tomorrow, by the way. So follow me at It's Dean Blundell if you like to, and I'll live stream a thing if long as they let me. I don't know if they do, but I'm going to live stream it. And stay safe, everybody. And don't listen to fucking idiots. Should be a bumper sticker. Don't listen to fucking idiots. Listen to doctors. Protect yourself. Stay safe. Be smart. Be accountable. All that stuff. Thanks to our friends at Blue Microphones. At Blue Microphones on Twitter. Super easy to find them. You can go to www.bluemic.com. Check out their full offering. They have a ton of stuff. A bunch of new World of Warcraft Yeti X microphones too. If you're a gamer, you'll love it. And these Yeti X's are the ones we use in the MoFi headphones as well. Grammy Award winning, the official partner of our DeanBlundell.com podcast network, all 32 podcasts. Where you go, we got a true crime deal. It's really good too. Go check out our true crime podcast at DeanBlundell.com. There's a ton of stuff there. So thanks to our friends over at Blue Microphones. Again, at Blue Microphones on Twitter or BlueMic.com. Gitch, Ed's Gitch. Order 4 pairs, you get 1 for free. Buy 3, get 1 free. That's how it works. Use promo code GITCH3. Gitch, and then the number 3. Jays are down 2-1 to Texas. Top of the 8th. I got to end this podcast soon because I got to go watch this. But go get Ed's Gitch. He's got them for you. He'll send you all kinds of colors. He's got tons of sizes. He's got everything. Premier luxury underwear. No piling. Great fit. Super easy to wear. And you get the pouch in the front for your stuff. Gitch from edsfineimports.com. Domination, if you do podcasts, if you do content online and you want to produce some stuff at a fraction of the time it normally takes you to edit, go to domination.com, DMNTN.com, and check it out. Totally free to try. You'll be amazed, shocked, freaked out, really, because it's AI that does everything for you. You feed your stuff in there, and all of a sudden you got these beautiful promos. Go to domination.com. And Black Rose Organics, better medicine at a better price. Coming up Friday, we're going to have more information on how you can get to sleep, how you can buy medical cannabis for less than you can get it anywhere else, and like craft, man, like really, really, really good stuff. The best. I think it's the best. Got to try their garlic sherbet. That's the best. Anyway, blackroseorganics.com. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching and listening. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter.